Jai Shri Ram everyone. So we are live again on day 9 and आज हम मतलब हमने लास्ट टाइम डे 8 तक ये कर लिया कि हमने वीक 4 कंप्लीट कर लिया। ठीक है, जो हम जिस कोर्स को हम कर रहे हैं तो उसके अंदर वीक 8 हमने कंप्लीट कर लिया, सॉरी वीक 4 कंप्लीट किया। वीक 4 तक हमने अब तक ये पढ़ा कि नॉर्मल वेरिएबल्स क्या होता है, इफ एल्स कंडीशंस क्या होती है, फॉर लूप, फिर नेस्टेड फॉर लूप, फिर फिर वाइल एंड फॉर, फिर कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स भी सॉल्व की जैसे बर्थडे पैराडॉक्स एंड ऑल। फिर उसके अलावा फिर हमने फिर लिस्ट भी किया। ठीक है, लिस्ट भी हमने बस ऊपर ऊपर से अभी तक बस उसका डेफिनेशन क्या कैसा होता है, लिस्ट के अंदर लिस्ट भी बना सकते हैं। फिर मैट्रिक्स वाली प्रॉब्लम भी सॉल्व किया, तो वो सारी चीज़ें सॉल्व की हमने। एंड अभी और इसके अलावा हम बात करेंगे फंक्शन पे। ठीक है, ज़्यादा डीप वगैरह जाना है हमें, लेकिन वो हम जाएंगे विद क्वेश्चंस। ठीक है, तो फिर शुरू करते हैं। वीक 4 तो हमारा हो गया, वीक 5 से स्टार्ट करेंगे आज। लेट मी शेयर माय स्क्रीन। सो आई होप थोड़ा हेल्प मिल रहा होगा। अगर कुछ भी फीडबैक हो तो कमेंट करके बता सकते हो। आई वुड लाइक टू नो योर फीडबैक एज वेल। ठीक है, चलो जी करते हैं अब स्क्रीन शेयर। एंड हाँ, ये पिंक कलर अपने आप है, मैं इसमें मतलब रैंडमली होता है यार। ठीक है, चलो ये कल तक हमने कल किया था, लाइक कोड वोड जो भी था पहले, तो वो हमने कल तक किया था। ठीक है, अभी हम फंक्शंस पे स्टार्ट करेंगे एंड फिर फंक्शन को ख़त्म करेंगे और फिर फंक्शंस की ये जो एक्स्ट्रा क्वेश्चंस जो है ये भी सॉल्व करेंगे। ठीक है, चलो जी देखते हैं आज कितना कंप्लीट कर पाते हैं। सेम वही 1 घंटे का रहेगा हमारा सेशन। एंड चलो मैं तो अपना ब्रशअप कर रहा हूँ, अगर आप 0 से पढ़ रहे हैं या ब्रशअप कर रहे हैं तो आपके लिए भी हेल्प है। ठीक है,
So let me teach you the theme of this week's discussion by getting into my terminal and I will start to code. I will not explain what I'm doing and I'll try to see if you can figure out all by yourself what I'm trying to do. Look at this. I will say def and then say add and then I'll say a comma b and then close the bracket, put a colon and then I'll say print answer equals a plus b. I'll say print answer and then I'll close it. And what is this? What will this do? It didn't even show anything, right? What do you mean by def here, right? I say print ans, but then nothing is getting printed. You don't even know what is a and b. It didn't even say that you have not declared a and b. What are these variables that you're using, etc., etc., right? So let me go ahead and show you print add. I'm sorry. So if I just say add 1 comma 6, it is showing 7. If I say add 10 comma 72, it is showing 82. You see what's happening here? I am declaring a new word called add. I'm defining add as something that will take two variables a and b. It took two variables 1 and 6. And then inside this room, okay, I'm defining a room where some calculations take place. It adds the numbers a and b, assigns it to ans, and then prints ans, whatever that is. And hence, you're getting 7 here the moment you put this. You're getting 82 here when you put this. Let's do something more. Let me say define subtract a comma b. And I'll say ans equals a minus b. And then I'll say print ans. Okay, and then I'll say sub 10 comma 8. You get 2. But still if I say add 8 comma 9, you will get 17. So you're defining new commands, I would say. The word that is easy on the mind in this stage for you all is you're creating your own commands. In other words, you're creating your own. In the language of Python, what you're doing is called creating your own functions. You are defining what should do what, and they are doing as per your instruction. Okay, stare at the monitor and then try to figure out what I have done here. Okay, I'll go a little ahead and try to write a not so straightforward function. I'll say def discount, let's say cost comma d for discount. Okay, so and then define discount cost comma d, and then what will be the discount. If the cost is some 100 rupees and you have a discount of 10%, it should be 90 rupees, right? So what you should answer should be equal to whatever was your cost. You need to subtract the D percentage of the cost. What would that be? This would simply be cost times D. If it's 10, it is D by 100. Okay, so much you must subtract. Assuming you all know what is discount, even I don't know what is discount. I believe this is discount. If the answer turns out to be incorrect, then we'll get back and then fix it. Okay, so cost, answer equals cost minus of a portion of the cost. You remove that from here. Okay, so let's see if we can print this. I have made a small mistake here. I need to close the brackets, which I didn't here. That's why it's not stopping. Okay, so now def discount cost comma D, answer equals so much, print answer. Let me see what is the discount for 100 rupees. The discount were to be 8%. Oh well, my knowledge of discount hasn't expired. I believe it's right. So let me write a complicated formula. For 1200, what is 8% discount? It gives me 1104. Probably you can check. So 8 into 12 is 96. 96 minus 200. 1200 is 1104. Yes, I'm right. So you can now write some complicated numbers, and some 17.5% of this discount is so much. Right? The idea here is the comfort with which you can define something and you can keep using it. Right? So for instance, you can say add 17 and 5 and add the difference of 100 and 3 to it and add discount of some 1500 rupees at, let's say, 7.5%, whatever this means. Okay, so this throws up an error. Why is that? When I say add 17, 5, it simply displays what is 17 plus 5. Okay, I expected this to be 22 plus 97 plus discount of 1500, 7.5. That is not happening. Why isn't it happening? That's because add of 17, 5 doesn't give you a number here. Unless, you see, had you done 17 plus 5 and let's say plus 100 minus 3, okay, so it will give you the answer. But my functions that I have written is not doing that, simply because let me go up and then see what's happening here. I say define add a comma b, I only print it. Is there any way I can return the sum of a and b of this function so that you can go ahead and use it like this, right? So let's see that on this side of my editor. So what I'll now do is I'll define add a comma b, then I'll say answer equals a plus b, and then I'll say return ans. Please note the word return. Return in day-to-day terms means you're returning your Amazon package for whatever reasons, right? That's the word return. That's how we use return in English. But then here in programming, by return we mean this function will, the moment you call this function, it will assign this value to the function. What do I mean by that? If you can stay patient, you'll observe what I mean by that. B equals, let's say 15. I say print add a comma b. And what this does is it comes to print, as you can see, it's showing 17 here. It comes to print, it calls this function add. The moment it sees add, it goes here and sees what have you defined here. Okay, this would never happen. You see, in your typical Python program, it would start from the top and then keep going to the bottom. But here, whenever you call, you have defined a function add, and you call the function add here. The moment you call it, it goes here. Whatever is a and b, 2 and 15, it puts it here, computes the value, answer, and then gives you the answer. And that is what you're printing here. Okay, so now look at this. Let me remove this. And then what if I say add a and b and add 10 to this and assign this to answer? Okay, whatever this means, for whatever reasons I'm doing this. Okay, and I'll print answer. It is giving me 2 plus 15 plus 10, 27. Okay, instead of return, if I were to say print answer, okay, this will throw up an error here because add of a comma b in this place, you're simply printing. You're not putting a value here. If you want a value to be replaced here, you must say return answer. Nevertheless, we'll try executing this and see what it does to abuse us of. Okay, so it says type error, unsupported operand type for plus, non-type and int. You know what it means. If you understood some the type concept that we taught you long back, you understand this error message, but don't break your head much. We are not here to read the details of the error message. The point is, it is throwing an error and we know why. It's because we are printing something. We should not be printing something. We should be returning the answer. Okay, so this may look like, why are we trying to use a big knife, to big axe to cut a flower? This is like a small flower that we are trying to cut. Why even do the circus of define add a comma b? Why not simply put a plus b here, right? Remove this and put a plus b. Boom, still you get the answer 27. Why do we do this? The idea is I use this as an example. Things will get very complicated and you will observe how these functions come in very, very handy, mainly on your mind. I repeat that. Functions are useful mainly for your mind because you stay very organized and you think in a very, what is called a modular form, where you break your idea into modules and then solve them slowly. So what we'll do is we'll delete this and try to write the discount function. Okay, define discount the amount, which was the cost, and then what was that variable I used? Disc or D? Okay, so D, I think it was D, so let me use D itself here. And what was the answer that I printed? I said answer is equal to the cost, and you're going to subtract the D proportion of the cost. So if it is 10%, you take 10% of cost, which is 10 by 100 times cost, and you subtract from cost, right? So if this doesn't make sense, then you may want to revise what you mean by discount or spend a couple of minutes time in writing down. Don't refer to a book or to understand what is discount. You may want to figure out by a pen and paper because it's sort of very straightforward. So I said return answer, all right? So print, enter the cost price. C equals input. And as you know, this should be an integer. So I'll say int of input. And then I'll say enter the discount. And discount will be disk. There's a reason why I'm calling it disk here. You'll get to know in a minute. You can wonder why not use cost and d here, right? You can indeed do that, but I'm for some reason using it this way. All right, let me simply execute it. In fact, it's not calling the function. I just want to see that everything is going good. 100 rupees, discount is 10%. It's not showing anything because I'm not showing anything here. So what I'll now do is print the final discount price is, what is that? Discount. Simply put your C here. Simply put your disk here. Okay. Then see what comes. Whatever you enter, 1000 rupees, 11% discount. 1000 minus 110 is 890. The final discount is 890. It says, you must now be wondering, what is cost comma d here? I use some variable here, and I say C here and disk here and then pass that here. So please note, the way this functions is the following. You need not put C here. You can simply put X here and Y here. Okay. But here you must also put X and Y. What am I saying? I'll make it clear in a minute. Moment you say discount X comma Y, your computer does the following. The moment it sees a new word discount, it tries to go and search, have you defined what the discount is? Right? Moment it goes here, it says, there is something called discount here, and let's see what variables are here. You have a cost, you have D. So it assumes X to be your cost and your Y to be your D. Okay? Whatever you put here, it will take in that order. It's like if my nickname is Sudhi, right? It takes me as Tom here, but you enter as Sudhi here. It takes Sudhi as Tom and does operations on Tom here. That's it. So as always, as you can see, whatever number you enter here, whether it's X or Y or whatever, the first one is called cost, the second one is taken as D, and you go ahead inside the function doing your manipulation and finally return whatever you want to return, which is the answer here. Right? So if it's confusing, don't worry at all. It takes time for you to get a hang of it. This entire week is going to be a lot of discussion on functions. As we proceed, things will be very, very, very clear. So bear with me. If things are appearing very complicated, you may want to watch this video a couple of times, or maybe a dozen number of times until you understand what are functions. Better even try coding, try writing your own code, and figure out how you can use functions. Now let's go ahead and write a non-trivial program which will help you understand what functions are.
ठीक है, तो अभी तक तो नॉर्मली हमें ये पता चला कि जो फंक्शन होता है उसको हम बार बार कॉल कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, उसके अंदर कोई भी कॉम्प्लेक्स जो क्वेरी नहीं बोलूँगा मैं, कोई भी कॉम्प्लेक्स जॉब है. ठीक है, अब इसके अंदर दिखाया था कॉस्ट एंड डिस्काउंट. ठीक है, ये वाला सीन हुआ, डिफरेंट केसेस हो गए. ठीक है, वो भी आप इसके अंदर डाल सकते हो एंड बार बार उस फंक्शन को कॉल कर सकते हो. जैसे कि कोई भी फंक्शन बनाया हमने, लेट्स सपोज फंक्शन. ठीक है, इसके अंदर हमने लगा दिया C, D. ओके, एंड C को लिखेंगे कॉस्ट एंड D को एज ए डिस्काउंट. ओके, नाउ यहाँ पे मैं लगा देता हूँ इफ cost is greater than 199. ठीक है, then return cost minus cost multiply discount divided by 100. Cool. एक तो ये हुआ. elif cost is, ये तो हुआ less than में. Cost is less than 599 and cost is greater than 199. Then return cost minus cost multiply discount divided by 100. ठीक है, अभी क्या सीन रहेगा, दोनों सेम एक्चुअली है या नहीं, लेकिन ये भी हो सकता है कि लाइक 599 और 199 के अंडर में जो है, ठीक है, जो दोनों के बीच में आता है, उसको अगर हम ये कर दें कि लाइक इसको डबल डिस्काउंट देना, तो सिंपली मैं यहाँ पे 2 से मल्टीप्लाई कर सकता हूँ. ठीक है, एंड elif cost is less than, let's suppose 1099 and cost is greater than 599. Wait a second. Stupid. Yes bro, I am stupid. आई नो दैट। अभी रिटर्न करना है यहाँ पे कॉस्ट कितना, 3 टाइम्स भी कर सकते हैं, कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, लाइक डिस्काउंट को अगर हाफ भी करना है तो वो भी कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। तो दैट कम्प्लीटली डिपेंड्स ऑन द कॉस्ट ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट। अब मैं ये भी लिख सकता हूँ कि लाइक यहाँ पे मैंने प्रोडक्ट डाल दिया, ठीक है, कोई स्पेसिफिक प्रोडक्ट है, ये लो, और इफ कॉस्ट इज दिस एंड प्रोडक्ट इज इक्वल्स टू हुआ ए, तो फिर डिस्काउंट कितना करना है, या फिर डिस्काउंट देना ही नहीं है, ठीक है, तो वो भी हम कर सकते हैं। दैट्स इट। अब हम इस फंक्शन को कॉल करेंगे, फंक्शन को कॉल किया, डायरेक्ट प्रिंट कर देता है, प्रिंट फंक्शन कॉस्ट कितना है, कॉस्ट है लेट्स सपोज लास्ट वाला प्रिंट कर दें, ठीक है, लेट्स सपोज 799 कोमा, डिस्काउंट कितना है जी, प्रोडक्ट मतलब हमारे पास 3 प्रोडक्ट है, सबके ऊपर 10% का डिस्काउंट है एक्सेप्ट वन, वो एक्सेप्ट कौन सा है, ए, कूल, और दैट्स इट। तो अभी अगर मैं इसको करूँगा प्रिंट तो 799 आया, एग्जैक्टली द सेम। या फिर ये भी कर सकते हैं 799 माइनस लाइक नहीं, जो भी हमारा ए प्रोडक्ट है उसका प्राइस बढ़ गया, उसके ऊपर कुछ डिस्काउंट नहीं मिलेगा, जबकि उसके ऊपर कॉस्ट थोड़ा ऐड कर देंगे हम, दैट इज 99, ठीक है। तो फिर आप इसे रन करेंगे सी 898, तो वो डायरेक्टली उस पर लैंड हुआ है। एंड अब बार बार मैं कोई भी मतलब करवा सकता हूँ, कमांड सी किया, कमांड वी किया, and here it comes like let's suppose I'm talking about 200, okay, and apart from this I'm talking about one more product which is let's suppose 99, okay, अब इसका भी प्रोडक्ट ए ही है, एंड एक और करेंगे, इसका प्रोडक्ट बी रहेगा लेकिन वैल्यू सेम रहेगी, ओके, सी 898 देन 160, 200 का था, ठीक है, तो 200 वाला कौन सा है, 200 वाला ये आ गया एलिफ वाला। डिस्काउंट कितना देना, डिस्काउंट जी 10% देना था, बट हमने दे दिया 20%, क्योंकि दैट्स द पॉलिसी, दीज रिक्वायरमेंट्स यू आर गोइंग टू गेट फ्रॉम योर मैनेजर, योर CFO, anyone who creates the strategies and all, okay, so these information that this much discount we are going to provide, that is going to be provided by some senior person from your client, okay, and after that सबका प्रोडक्ट सी ए बी है, लेकिन इन दोनों का सब कुछ सेम आया है, रीज़न प्रोडक्ट वाला जो भी है वो सिर्फ लास्ट वाले एलिफ में है, ऊपर वाले में कोई घंटा फर्क नहीं पड़ता प्रोडक्ट कौन सा है, अगर वो 199 से छोटा है देन डिस्काउंट मिल जाएगा, कोई डबल बगल डिस्काउंट नहीं है, जैसा भी फॉर्मूला है उसके अकॉर्डिंग मिलेगा, कूल। तो ये सीन रहेगा। तो ये हो गया हमारा फंक्शन, ठीक है, इसको बार बार कॉल कर सकते हैं, जितनी बार करना उतनी बार करो। ये आपका जो कोड का मतलब बार बार रिपीटिशन जो होता है, कोड का लाइन बार बार रिपीट करना एंड ऑल, तो उसको अब सी मैंने सिर्फ इसको एक ही बार फंक्शन का नाम लिखा है एंड फिर उसके अंदर वैल्यूज डाली है एंड आई गॉट द आंसर, ठीक है। मेरे को बार बार ये पूरा कोड लिखना नहीं पड़ रहा है, तो मैं इसको जितनी बार चाहूँ उतनी बार कॉल कर सकता हूँ, ओके। एक ये भी होता है कि I am inside the function, okay, and I'm going to call it from inside, ये भी आप देखोगे, अभी मेरे को प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट कुछ याद नहीं आ रहा, बट आई कैन कॉल इट फ्रॉम इनसाइड एज वेल, लेट्स सपोज 1000 एंड डिस्काउंट कुछ भी 15 दे दिया, प्रोडक्ट कुछ भी ए दे दिया, ठीक है। तो यू कैन कॉल इट फ्रॉम इनसाइड एज वेल, तो उसको बोलते हैं हम सेल्फ कॉलिंग फंक्शन रिकर्जन समथिंग, आई फॉरगॉट द नेम, क्या नाम था, मतलब आ जाएगा आगे, होगा यहीं पे more example of function sorting using matrix multiplication theory recursion. ओके, तो ये सीन रहता है, तो ये भी सीख लेंगे, मतलब इट्स वेरी इजी एक्चुअली, वेरी इजी. इसका यूज़ क्या होगा, दैट वुड बी वेरी मच इंटरेस्टिंग, बिकॉज यू नीड टू नो कि when you need to use this, like when you need to apply self calling function, that is even more important to understand, because एग्जाम या इंटरव्यू के अंदर वो थिंकिंग डेवलप करना, दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. ओके, so now let's move forward. Second video.
So let's go ahead and write some warm-up programs, right? So let me do some list manipulations. Let us write a few functions on lists. Okay, what are those? Let me first start with finding the minimum element in a list. We have done this program already. The point is to do the same program again using a new concept that you have learned in Python. So how do we go about it? Let me think. Define, let's say, the list minimum, and then I'll input a list here. Okay, list can also be input, right? So I'll just show you a small example here. Define first element. If I say define first element in a list L, and then I will simply return L of 0, you know, and then define a list X as 1 2 3, and then say first element of X will get as 1. Okay, if you want to write a function called second element and return L of 1, which is the second element, that also works. As you can see, second element of X is 2. Right? In fact, you can return another list in the function. Right? So I just want to show you that function can also take list as an input. Okay? All right. Now let's get back. Let me find the minimum of the list L. How do we go about it? First, I'll say minimum. I'll say mini, because min happens to be a built-in function. Right? So you should not say print equals 0, because print is used to print the print command in Python. Right? You should not use the built-in command as variables, which we have mentioned already. But in one of my previous videos, I did use min as a variable. Thankfully, it did not throw any errors. It was probably in third week. I don't remember. Anyway, sorry for the digression. Let me get back and write a piece of code for finding minimum of a list. So I'll say my minimum is L of 0. Okay, and then I'll go through a for loop for I in range len of L. Right, so what should I do? Just thinking, just in case if this minimum is less than if my L of I is less than mini, let's say, which means whatever you have found as minimum, if some entry of L is less than that, then you say minimum is that. All right, so pretty simple, and then finally you return mini. All right, a quick code. I didn't even give it a thought, but let's see whether it works or not. All right, so what I'll do is I'll execute it, and maybe I should write a 1 2 3 4 5 minus 10 6 4. All right, a list, and then I should say print list min of L. Let's see.
हेलो। हाँ, अभी मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है। सॉरी, घर से कॉल आ गया था। कोई ना, आई एम सॉरी। वापस से स्टार्ट करते हैं। ये तो, हाँ, ये मिनिमम वाले के बारे में बता रहा था, तो इसको थोड़ा सा बैक करते हैं।
Minimum is that. All right. So pretty simple. And then finally you return mini. All right. A quick code. I didn't even give it a thought, but let's see whether it works or not. All right. So what I'll do is I'll execute it, and maybe I should write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 10, 6, 4. All right. A list, and then I should say print list min of L. Let's see, this should pop out minus 10. Let's see if it does that. Yeah, perfect. It is giving me minus 10. This function works fine. I have just now verified. Right now, similarly, I want to define list max. Okay, I'm doing it without a lot of energy. That's because you guys know what's happening. In fact, this should be boring for you. Maximum, again, max is a built-in function, so I'll say maxi, which is equal to L of 0. If I list max, I say is 6. Going good. Defined before, we'll say, okay, of a list L and Z. Okay, so what do I mean by list append before? If you have a list, let's say 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, and another list Z equals 7, 5, 50, 51, 1, let's say, okay, I want Z to, whatever is the entries here, to appear here. Ultimately, the answer should be 7, 51, 1, 1, 2, 7, 8, and 9. This is what I mean by append before, right? So let's try writing a code for append before. How do I go about it? It's very easy. You have to I say new L append, and now I'll append entries of L. Okay, so what is happening here, so I'm used to, as a heavy programmer, used to simply writing the code and then trying to check it. Okay, not worrying whether what they did was right or wrong, because you will get to know here whether you're right or wrong. So you have a L here, and I need to put a Z here. Z equals, let's say, 10, 20, 30. Perfect. So I'll say print list append before of L comma Z. What is it supposed to do? It will, this function, as you know, will go and see what is in list append before, put the list L, list Z here, it will go inside and do all these manipulations, and then finally return. See, I did not return it. It would return an error message if you don't return something. It will not do. I mean, of course, it will not return an error message, but it will not do what it's supposed to do. Okay, return new L, right? And that's it. Yeah, you see 10, 20, 30, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 10, 6, 4, and 100. Okay, perfect. So we will now.
ओके, ये थोड़ा खुद से करके देखते हैं यार। ठीक है, इन्होंने 3 फंक्शन बनाया, हम भी बनाएंगे। पहला बनाया इन्होंने मिनिमम। ठीक है, मिनिमम फंक्शन बनाया था हम। ओके, एंड उसके अंदर लेना है हमें लिस्ट को। ठीक है, एंड देन हम मिनिमम को असाइन करेंगे एज लिस्ट का जो फर्स्ट वैल्यू है, दैट इज मिनिमम। फिर फॉर आई इन रेंज क्या होगा, रेंज लेंथ ऑफ L, cool. Then we are going to check if minimum is less than or greater than L of I is less than minimum. Okay, तो यहाँ पे लगाया if colon, and if it is, then minimum is equals to Li. ये हमने पहले भी किया, कल या परसों किया था शायद। Okay, and then we are going to return min. That's it, हो गया। सेम एक और कोड बनाएंगे, यहाँ पे लिखेंगे मैक्स फंक्शन। एल जा रहा है, सेम यहाँ पे भी फर्स्ट को हम मैक्स मान लेंगे, देन इसको ग्रेटर देन कर देंगे। इफ दैट इज ग्रेटर देन मैक्स, तो फिर मैक्स को डिक्लेयर कर देंगे एज दिस एंड रिटर्न करेंगे मैक्स। ओके, अभी हम क्या करेंगे, डेफ अपेंड फंक्शन। ठीक है, इसके अंदर हम 2 लेंगे, एल एंड जेड, एंड यहाँ पे क्या करेंगे कि एल डॉट अपेंड जी, ओके, एंड देन रिटर्न एल। चलो अब करते हैं इसको, प्रिंट करेंगे सबसे पहले किसको, मिन फंक्शन को, एंड इसके अंदर हम दे रहे हैं हमारी लिस्ट कौन सी, एल। ठीक है, एल इज इक्वल्स टू 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6। कमेंट 22 भी देते हैं यहाँ पे, एंड 33 एंड 55 एंड 98। ठीक है, ये पूरी बड़ी हमारी लिस्ट है। इसके अलावा एक हमारे पास जेड भी है, जी, उसको बस सिंपली हम देंगे 1000 एंड 999। ओके, तो ये तो हुआ हमारा मिनिमम फंक्शन वाला, and now this would be our max function. So they are going to return us minimum and maximum values. अभी we are going to call append, print append func, and यहाँ पे हम कॉल करेंगे append func को but l and z के साथ में। तो फिर ठीक है, l and z के साथ में कॉल किया, चलो रन करता। स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट्स नहीं आएंगे बट एरर क्या है, लोकल वेरिएबल min referenced before assignment। एक यहाँ पे मैक्सी करना था, एक यहाँ पे ये हो गया मिनी, यहाँ पे भी होगा मिनी। ये गलती की है हमने, लास्ट टाइम हमने लेंथ को भी एक्चुअली वैल्यूज दे दी थी, जिसकी वजह से बाद में बहुत प्रॉब्लम हुई थी। मैक्सी 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 रिटर्न मैक्सी, रिटर्न एल, रिटर्न मिनी। अभी सही है, तो रिटर्न में मिनी 1, यस 1 इट इज़, देन 98 जो कि मैक्स है एल के अंदर, यस। फिर हमें करना था अपेंड, बट अपेंड हुआ है मतलब पूरी की पूरी लिस्ट आ गई है, वी डोंट वांट दैट। हमें चाहिए एक एक वैल्यू जाए। ओके, तो उसके लिए फिर हम क्या लगाएंगे, फॉर आई इन जी एंड यहाँ पे लगा देंगे आई, दैट्स इट। सही है, 22 33 55 98 1 2 3 4 5 6 देन 1000 एंड 999, डन। यहाँ पे इन्होंने 2 लूप्स लगाए हैं, व्हाई इज दैट। न्यू एल इन्होंने एकदम खाली के साथ में ओपन किया, एकदम खाली लिस्ट है, एम्प्टी लिस्ट। फॉर आई इन रेंज लेंथ जी एंड अंदर जाकर के न्यू एल डॉट अपेंड जी आई।
Now go ahead and write another function, define list append. Before we did, we'll do end now. Okay, el comma z, the same function. So what should happen now? What should happen? Don't worry about this error message here. So it probably got executed as I was typing this code. So what should I do now? I probably should copy paste this here, right?
अपेंड बिफोर एंड अपेंड एंड, ठीक है, मतलब शुरू में पहले तो ये वाले को आना चाहिए, फिर बाद में ये वाली वैल्यूज आनी चाहिए। उसके केस में हम क्या कर सकते हैं, जो z है हम उसके अंदर अपेंड करवाएंगे एंड एवरी वैल्यू ऑफ l। तो हम 2 फॉर लूप नहीं लगाएंगे, हम एक ही लगाएंगे, ठीक है। उस कंडीशन में भी इनका शायद थोड़ा ध्यान नहीं गया वो, क्योंकि जितना फॉर लूप लगाओगे उतना आपका कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी बढ़ता है कोड का, एंड वी डोंट वांट दैट। तो डेफ अपेंड बिफोर, ओके, and l comma z same, but for I in l z dot append, and here we are going to do I, and that's it, return z, cool, command c, print command v l comma z, c 1000 and 999 पहले आ गए, बाकी वाले बाद में आए। एंड ये क्यों आया है, क्योंकि ये हमने ऊपर वाले फंक्शन के अंदर एल बना दिया था, ठीक है। एल यहाँ पे नया हो गया था, दैट्स वाई यहाँ पे नया एल आया है फिर, ओके। दैट्स वाई इट got added in append func, but this got added in append before, okay.
Copy paste this here, and then whatever goes in the front should instead be appended at the end. This should work. Let's see if it works or not. So I'm executing it with list append end l comma z. Okay. Print. You get one more piece of code. I'm in the mood for writing more functions. Okay. So what will I do? Let me think. So let me write a piece of code to find the average of the entries of a list. Okay. List average of a list L. How do I go about it? Let's see. First I must
एवरेज ऑफ द लिस्ट, ये हम करेंगे पहले। def and average of list L, ठीक है। देन और पहले एकदम स्क्रैच से स्टार्ट करेंगे, कोई फंक्शन का यूज़ नहीं करेगा, ठीक है। फॉर आई इन रेंज भी लगा सकते हैं, डायरेक्टली एल भी लिख सकते हैं। एंड सम प्लस इक्वल्स टू आई, तो ये हमें सम दे देगा। देन वी आर गोइंग टू डू द लेंथ, ओके। सो length of L is equals to length of L, okay. Then return sum divided by length of L, okay. So now this is done. Average of list, command C, we're going to give just L 185.66 or 67. That would be the average of this list. Oh no, not of this list. Actually it got changed and now it has become 1000,999, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, एंड ये भी आएगा, ओके। एंड लास्ट में भी वो आएगा 1000,999। सो इस लिस्ट का एवरेज जो है दैट इज 185, ओके।
find the sum, and then I should divide that by the number of entries in L, right? Pretty simple. Let me bring this in. That's all, sir. Remove it, not required. So we have checked these functions. These functions will still be there. If you want, you can use them anytime you want. But I now want to check if I can find the average of the entries of a list. Okay. Int that really one. Okay. Minus here. Okay. You break your problem into smaller pieces and write the pieces as functions, and finally stitch them together, and you will get a final program. So what do I mean by that? By that I mean print enter list, okay, and you can take the list from the user here, and then you can ask him what you need to do. You need to find the average of the list, or find the minimum in the list, or maximum in the list. Based on that, you can call the functions and then do it here. In fact, your life becomes very easy because you need not write all this code here, right? I'm not writing the code right now. I should go ahead with the next program, but I'm just giving you a quick illustration. You can write the entire code here and eliminate the requirement for functions, or write down the functions here and call them whenever you want. All right, that will be an easier way to write a piece of code. You will see the power of this in our forthcoming programs now.
Cool. चलो नेक्स्ट पे चलते हैं, sorting using functions. कितना टाइम हो गया हमें? क्या बढ़िया।
Remember the sorting program that we did the last week? I'm going to repeat the same right now, but I'm going to use functions and show you the power of functional approach to programming. If you remember, we sorted a list of numbers based on a technique called the obvious sort. If you remember what that was, it was find out the minimum most element in the list, append that to a new list, and then remove the minimum from the original list. Append that to a new list, let's say new list X, find out the minimum most element in the given list, let's say L, and remove the minimum from the original list L. Alright, this is what we did. I try to do this right now on purpose. I will stumble a little, I will do it slightly slowly, and then try to tell you the power of functions and try to sort of demonstrate how both time and effort gets reduced if you use functions. Let's go ahead and try to code the obvious sort algorithm. So I will say obvious sort, I'll take L as the input. Okay, so what should I do? Look at the first line. Find out the minimum most element in the list. Fine. How do I do that? How do I find out the minimum most element in the list? You see, I'm thinking, I'm sort of clueless, right? As I told you earlier, I'm going to take a very, very slow approach to solve this. Okay, so assume you are new to programming and you're thinking aloud like this with me. So how do you sort a list L? You first need to find the minimum most element in L. How do I do that? I will say for I in range length of L. Okay, so if minimum that you have declared already, okay, minimum, which is the first element in
खुद करते हैं यार ये सॉर्ट करना है ना करते हैं डेफ फंक्शन बनाया हमने लेट्स सपोज दैट इज सॉर्ट उसके अंदर लिस्ट जो है दैट वुड बी आवर आर्गुमेंट नहीं है दिस इज पैरामीटर आर्गुमेंट तब होता है जब हम उसको कॉल करते हैं ऐसा कोई सीन है मतलब सी अभी जब मैं इसको कॉल करूँगा सॉर्ट एंड अब here I'm going to call it like a list 3. Okay, so here I'm going to call it as an argument, but here I'm going to call it as parameter. Yes, ठीक है. So ये हो गया and अभी हमें क्या करना है? अभी हमें ये फाइंड आउट करने से पहले मिनिमम, क्योंकि मिनिमम टू मैक्सिमम जाएंगे, मिनी हमने डिक्लेयर कर लिया एज L0. ओके, सॉरी L यहाँ पे, and for I in L, if I is greater than less than min, then mini would be L0. No, mini would be Li. Okay, and अभी इसके अंदर जाएंगे यहाँ पे, if I is less than mini, then mini would be Li, and एक और लिस्ट बनाते हैं, खाली लिस्ट, लेट्स सपोज सॉर्टेड. ओके, सॉर्टेड के अंदर इसको डालते रहना. सो sorted dot append and इसमें मिनी डाल देते हैं एंड जो हमारी लिस्ट है L उससे रिमूव भी करना है, किसको? मिनी को. दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड लास्ट में रिटर्न कर देता है sorted को. कूल, डन. अभी if I'm going to call it and if I print it, कॉल करना एंड प्रिंट करना इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग. कॉल करूँगा तो रुको कॉल करके दिखाता हूँ. यार मैं बस सिर्फ कॉल कर रहा हूँ. वेट सेकेंड, थोड़ा सा गड़बड़ हो गया. लिस्ट इंडेक्स आउट ऑफ रेंज, क्या गलती कर दी मैंने? लिस्ट 3 डिक्लेयर नहीं किया. लिस्ट 3 इज इक्वल्स टू लेट्स सपोज 22 3 44 55 36 1 45 19. ओके, बहुत रैंडम एकदम मस्त वाले नंबर दिए. अभी शुड रन. नो, लिस्ट इंडेक्स आउट ऑफ रेंज आई लगाना है बस, यहाँ पे Li नहीं आएगा. ओके, तो तो इसने मिनी को डाल दिया उठा करके, बट वी आर नॉट क्वाइट we are not quite satisfied with the solution. So अभी I have just discussed about self calling. ठीक है, so we are going to call it again sort L. Okay, and condition डाल देता if L length of L is greater than 0, then call it else return. ठीक है, तो अभी यहाँ पे आता रहेगा, वापस घूमता रहेगा घूमता रहेगा घूमता रहेगा, रिमूव भी हो रहा है, तो एक एक करके सारे के सारे एलिमेंट्स जो है वो रिमूव होते रहेंगे, और लास्ट में आएगा जब इसके अंदर एक भी एलिमेंट नहीं होगा, एंड देन इफ कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई नहीं करेगी, देन इट विल गो इन एल्स, एंड फिर हमारा सॉर्टेड वाला जो है वो रिटर्न होगा. कूल. अब सी मैंने सिर्फ उसको कॉल किया, सो दैट्स व्हाई इट डज नॉट, मतलब कुछ कुछ शो नहीं कर रहा. सो प्रिंट एक्चुअली हेल्प करेगा शो करने में. ओके, why. Hello, Lone, Octavian, Julia. Hi. So we have done this. Why it is returning us none? This should not be the option. Oh. सही तो किया यार, सब कुछ सही है, but still it's returning none. प्रिंट करके देखते हैं फिर. ठीक है, यहाँ पे प्रिंट करेंगे एल को, शुरुआत में एम्प्टी है, दिस इज नॉट गुड. ओके, यहाँ पे अगर प्रिंट करूँ मैं एल को, मिनी को रिमूव करने के बाद में, तो ये बार बार रिमूव कर तो रहा. 22 3 को रिमूव किया इसने. What site are you using for learning Python? I use different sites, bro. मतलब actually I know a little bit of Python, and I'm just brushing it up. Okay, so if you want to learn Python, for that, wait a second, let me tell you. Byju's could be a good option, but that would be like if you want to go into the documentation or anything, but like this Python documentation, the best one. Okay, this is very best. Apart from this, W3 schools is there. Okay, you can learn anything from this Python documentation. And apart from this W3 schools, अभी एक और साइट थी यार, वो याद नहीं आ रही है मेरे को. W3 schools online web tutorials Python. See, okay, so here you can find another. फिर एक और था, analytics vidya. You can go there as well, just to check for their free articles and all. Okay, analytics vidya, this is a good site. And apart from this, I'm currently I'm following a course which is IIT, which is from IIT Madras. So I have actually cracked the exam and I'm into IIT Madras right now. So I just thought to come online and help you guys as well if you want to study from lectures that they provide to us. It would be good, right? So 99% of their knowledge, and I just add 0.0%, 0.01% of mine, and that's it. Okay. So that's why I'm currently solving this before even lecturer. No problem, bro. Thanks to you for coming. So here we are. इसने 3 को remove किया. Cool. Then he has removed 19. If we don't call it, but if we don't call it, yes. Hmm. Pass. Okay. Let's see now. How many computer language do you know, bro? Bro, I know Python. I know R. Then comes C, C++. Okay, and these are 4. Apart from this, I know SQL as well. SQL BigQuery. Okay, Google BigQuery. So that's pretty much it, I guess. PySpark. So yeah, that's it. Python, like I'm currently brushing it up again. It's been 2 years. I have left it. So just trying to get my hands dirty again, and so that I can write code like without even thinking anything, to build up my muscle memory and all. So it's not 22, 3, 44, 55, 36, 45, 19. Everything is good actually. It has removed 1, which is good. It is calling it again and again. What else could be there? We can do one more thing. If length of L is equals to 0. Cool. Why it is coming as 1? Hi Yasin, how are you? What else we can do? What else? What else? What else? ओह sorted को ये दोबारा से, that's why, okay. हाँ, so every time this function is getting called by him by itself, like where it is, yes. So whenever this sort function is calling itself again and again, we are making sorted list empty again, which is not good, right? So what we need to do here, hmm, we need to keep it. Let's make it global if we can. I just hope class function, like this would be global. If it would be global, then we can use it here. If in case it is private, then this will throw an error. Because in C and C++ it is like that only. Cool. This is the sorted list. Okay, so I hope I have made this clear. Like first of all, we have created a function named as sort. We are getting a list here in the arguments or in parameters. Okay, then we are declaring a variable named as mini, in which we are declaring as the very first element, whatever it is, we are declaring it as the uh, minimum value. Okay, and then we are going to go in for loop. We are going to take every element of the list L. Let's suppose L is this. Wait, let me copy it here. Okay, so this is list L. Okay, and what is minimum? Minimum number is 22 for now, because first element is 22. Okay, now we are going to check if I is less than minimum number. What is I? For the very first loop or very first cycle, the I is 22. Okay, so 22 is less than 22. No, it is equal to 22, so that's why it is not going to run. Again, second cycle 3 is here, so 3 is less than 22. Yes, it is. So now I is 3, and 3 will be assigned to minimum. Okay, so now minimum is 3. Now third cycle, which is 44. Again it is going to ask 44 is less than 3. No, so this condition, this is not satisfied, so it will not go under this indentation. Okay, again fourth cycle 55, again false. 36, again false. 1, this would be true because 1 is less than 3. Okay, so minimum would be now 1 because we have assigned it here. Then 45 is greater than 1, so false. 19 is greater than 1, so again false. So this is how this loop will run first. After running every cycle, it will come here in sorted. So sorted is a empty list here, and we are going to append it by mini. So what is our minimum number now? 1. So in sorted we are having 1. Okay, now we are going to remove 1 from L. So this is the L, and we are going to remove 1. Okay, and we are going to print L. This I printed just for my testing purpose. Remove it. Now if length of L is greater than 0, yes, it is greater than 0, because currently we are having around more than 3 and 4 7, more than 7 elements we are having in the list. That's why uh, it is going to call the sort function again. So sort function will be called again, and again this will run. Okay, now minimum is again 22. Okay, because we are declaring it again, that's why. Earlier it was 1, but now we have declared it as 22. Now again this for loop will run. Okay, and again now the minimum number would be 3, and if minimum is 3 then we are going to append it here in sorted. So now 1 comma 3. Okay, and then we are going to remove 3 from L, then 3 will be removed. Okay, so that's how we are going to do it. Then slowly we are going to remove every element from the list L, and we are going to append it here, and that's how I got this answer: 1 3 19 22 36 44 45 55. I hope it helped. So how many people are online for now? Okay, just one.
In the list, if whatever was the minimum is, if L of I will call that as a minimum, and at the end it will go to become empty finally, and then finally you will come out of the loop, and then I'll say return L. Hopefully this works. It's not printing anything for some reason. Let's see why. Okay, return L. You see the mistake I did? I should have written X here because X is the new list. You probably were wondering as I was coding. Some of you on seeing this mistake, you're wondering what is he doing, and that was seen here, my stupidity. So now, yay, it sorts the list 1, 5, 23, 88, 19, 97, and you are now wondering, what on earth did you do just now? Right? The same old program that we did the last time, I'm using functions to do the same thing. What's the big deal in it? There is a big deal in it. Just wait and watch. In fact, I wrote the entire thing into one function. But then look at this.
Here he has used this while a loop, okay, till the length will be like less than 0 or anything. But here we have used calling the self function itself. Okay, so actually our code is much better because here he is using two loops, while loop and then for loop. So the complexity would be around n square if I'm not wrong. I need to go through the complexity part again, but here we are using just one for loop, that's it. So our complexity is n.
I have find out the minimum most element in the list L. Why can't I write a function for this? Right? So what do? I'll just write a function exclusively for this. What is that? What is that? For this, find out the minimum most element in the list L. So let me call that as define minimum element in the list L. Okay, this should return a minimum element after finding. Okay, for you. Okay, so now let me say I input list. You see of the list much, correct? And remove that element from the list L. Keep doing this while your list is not. This was a little garbled here. I mean, it was a little heavy on the mind, you see, but this wasn't that heavy on the mind. Correct? So let's see whether it works fine. What I'll do is if I say obvious sort, this gets executed. I'll try to say obvious sort 1 and I'll see, which means it'll come here, execute this function. Inside this function, there's another function here, which it will go and then call. Okay? So it's like you seek the help of your friend. Alright? So this part, you seek the help of this fellow. Alright? That's how it works. And here you're calling obvious sort 1. Let's see if it works or not. Again, I did the same mistake. You probably are thinking, how many times will Sudarshan keep doing return X instead of return X, I type return L. Program can be made into bits and pieces and you can solve them slowly. Isn't this true in your life too? Where you have a big task to do and you keep procrastinating. And a good tip that people give you is break that into smaller chunks and then try to solve these chunks independently, individually. Okay? That way it becomes easy on your mind. You will not procrastinate. You will feel organized and you'll get the job done. So we rest here with understanding a very important principle in programming, which is functional approach to programming, also called the modular approach. You break your problem into small modules. Let me just sort of write that down. We just learned that breaking our problem into smaller modules and solving them makes it easy on our mind. Alright, so if you were to ask me what is the, that is precisely what I had, and try to use functions to see if the very process of matrix multiplication, which was one big task for us, very heavy and ordeal and very tough on our mind, can we simplify that using a functional approach to.
Okay, this is done now. Okay, he has used two functions actually, but we have used just one function. This part is actually better than mine because we have like completely break it down into two parts. Okay, now let's move towards the matrix multiplication using function. I think this would be our last key or four. Okay, we are already 1 hour 5 minutes. Okay, no problem. We can continue it from here onwards. Okay, but tomorrow, not today. Slowly we are going to move. Okay, then we are going to solve this question as well. No problem. It will be very easy. Today was my exam, so I will be relaxing for today. I just thought to give it a like warm up and then leave it. So like that's it from my side for today. We are going to come again live tomorrow, same time. I would try. ओके, चलो जी, जय सिया राम, मिलते हैं। ठीक है, चलो जी, बाय।